Hi and Jambo, welcome back to this channel. Today I want to reflect a little bit as a teacher, as an educator, and I want to share a story. I reflect on the life of the students. My name is Margaret Jeroge and I have been an educator all my life. I taught high school for several years before embarking on early childhood career, and I have never looked back. It is the best rewarding jobs that you can know, because it is when the growth of a child is sort of happening and you become a part of that child's story in their own life and in the life of their family. So before I give one of the many stories that I have which helps me reflect on the impact that I make to the students, I want us to think through. In the world of education, we often focus on what we teach or what is taught. The curriculums, the lesson plannings, the subjects that we teach, math, literacy, socio-emotional. But there is something more powerful at play here, and this is my experience. As a person who have taught for so many years, I have seen this at play every single time. Think at a time when you are young. What did you want your teacher to be? What did you want from the teachers? Therefore, you have to become that. Do you want the teacher to listen to you? Then we have to become people who listens to children. Do we want to be understood? Then we have to be people who understands our students. We want to feel valued and a part of that community in the classroom. Then we have to become educators who sees that with our students to become indeed the adults we wanted to have when we were growing up, and to rectify maybe those things we felt were not coming through. The impact we make isn't necessarily found in the lessons we deliver, because students will design something else to learn through the lessons that you have worked so hard to create. The heart and soul we bring into the teaching can shape, and we know it because we have been shaped. It can shape the child's future in a profound way that any textbook, any curriculum, any lesson planning could ever do. This I know it to be true. When I step in the classroom, I know that the energy that I bring, the passion, the empathy, the compassion means more than the stories I'll be reading, than the numbers that I'll be teaching, more than the alphabets. They all set a coded tone for my students. It doesn't matter whether they're infants, 7-year-olds. As educators, we know this, that the way we come and front ourselves, the energy we bring, those unseen things from inside is what sets the tone to have the students feel seen, understood, and valued. I definitely don't remember many things I was taught, but obviously I remember that teacher who saw me and said, you know, child, you can do this. You can remember the warmth of a smile that was offered by a teacher, the encouragement that you received in the voice of the teacher, the patience that you received, and therefore the patience that you're giving when the child is struggling. These are the things that stays with them, definitely that stays with us. Lita Pearson, in this TED Talk, please, if you're a parent, an educator, this is one TED Talk to go watch. But I'll quote what she said. Quote, "Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be." End of quote. And we don't have judgment over them, and we are not looking for the performance. They look at us as models, to model for them what life feels like. Being a great teacher is never having the right answers. In fact, if you're in early childhood education, I would recommend you don't give children answers. Let them explore and discover for themselves. But it is about guiding them, you mentor them, and sometimes, honestly, you yourself, the teacher, becoming the space, literally the space, where they can come and pour out themselves, where they know that they're not going to be judged for whatever it is that they do, that where they feel that they just need to show up and that they'll be valued. So the commitment that we make to the life of our children when we step into that classroom, when we open that door and we leave all our challenges and problems, and of course we are human beings, it is the kind of a teacher I strive to be. The essence of teaching, it is about the connections that we make with our students. Doesn't matter whether they are infants or high school, or those of us who have gone back to school when we are adults. It is the connection, it is the trust we build, it is the inspiration we provide to our students, it is being that model and showing them how to live life even in a space of vulnerability. We are really the beacon of hope. We may not know, we may not realize. At the end of the day, it is not about, again, what I teach that matters most. It is the kind of a teacher I was. Weak, vulnerable, inadequate as I became through to the student. It is how I showed up. And this is my story, the story I wanted to give. 1 year I really struggled as a teacher, as an educator, and I did not exactly know how to go about it. And it was very, very challenging. It was very hard. I worked so hard. I would do research and I would feel like, God, I wish I helped that child a little bit more. I wish I noticed that child was struggling for this and therefore I encouraged them to do this. But I felt at the end of the day there was not enough time for me to do anything which I had really worked so hard to plan or to do or to have the students experience. And the year ended and I sat down and I wrote the many things that I wanted to do but didn't, and I wondered what the life of those children will be. Fast forward, maybe 6 months, I can remember the timeline. Of course, the children have transitioned, but the child happened to move. If you're the parent of this child, I know you know the story. If you're one of the teachers who taught with me, you know this story probably I have shared with you. Child and the family came to visit. The family, but of course they came to see the school. I was not there when he came to visit. But he told the teacher, oh my goodness, where is Miss Margaret? And he was told, of course, it was my day off. And in the process, he said, I forgot to give her my number. And of course, that is too funny. We think it is, oh my goodness. And I was told he left sad. The following day, I remember it was on a Friday. And so he came. You know, I'm given this story, of course, in the morning and I'm laughing. You know, it was just funny. And so when I just opened the door and the boy happened to have come to see us again. I saw the boy ran through the hallway and he said, Miss Margaret, I'm so sorry, I forgot to give you my number. And of course I laughed so hard. And I said, oh, you have a number, so you have a phone? He said, no, I have my mom's number. And I go, but that is not your number. He said, but I use that phone to talk to my grandma and my grandpa. And I go, oh, that's good. So what did you want to tell me on the phone? I asked the boy. And he said, Miss Margaret, I feel so sad because my brother will not be coming to your classroom because we moved. I wish he came to your classroom because he would have the best time. You guessed it. I choked. And I looked at him and I was like, how is that so? I really liked this class. And I really every morning wanted to come to school. And I asked him because I felt good. I felt better. I got hugs and I got high fives and I liked it here. And I said, I know you get that home. No, I'm talking about being in school. And I wanted my brother to come to this school so that he can feel what I felt. This is the class I told you I struggled with. The moment I discovered then, indeed, when we are feeling so vulnerable, it is the time we are most effective. Because probably most of the time when we are feeling confident, we are actually performing. And we are not really reaching out to that student because we are claiming that we do have the experience. But unfortunately, I had to report to myself that yes, I have so much experience teaching early childhood, but I do not have experience teaching these particular ones in that classroom. So I have to become a student so that they can teach me how to teach them. So then I discovered that the trademark of a teacher is the one who feels vulnerable and not confident enough to feel that they can teach the students, because then that means that you're going to teach those students like the ones you have taught before, and therefore that means that you're not reaching out to the students that you have the way they would like to be taught. So I became a learner. I'm a student like them, and every single day I go expecting to be taught something new by my student, and boy have I learned so much. So if you're an educator and you're feeling uneasy and second guessing and vulnerable and you don't know exactly what it is that you're going to approach, just be yourself. Become vulnerable for them. They're not looking for superhumans. They are not looking for you to give them the right answers. They are looking for you to help them become by being in that classroom. Let me know whether you have a special story of what has made you keep going as an educator, especially in the field of early childhood, by commenting below. Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next video. Remember to subscribe.